Here's the 0-1. This is going to be a tough play. Bryant, the Cubs win the World Series. Bryant makes the play. It's over. And the Cubs have finally won it all. 8-7-10.
Welcome to Club 120. The ultimate roundtable for diehard Cubs fans and lovers of all things sports and lifestyle.
Strike three, you're out.
Hosted by Neil and Nate, two former baseball players and coaches turned loud mouths with strong opinions and even stronger banner. Get ready for quick-hitting, time-answer segments packed with wit, laughs, and the occasional heated debate. From analyzing Cubs on-field action to diving into off-field drama, no topic is off limits. So grab your glove, pour a drink, and pull up a seat at Club 120, where the banner's quick, the takes are hot, and the Cubs always come first. Let's get started.
Play ball.
Hello, Cubs friends. It's 120. You know what that means. Time to grab an old style and a bleacher seat. You're in Club 120. Let's talk Cubs. I'm Nate, and with me, as always, is a man who knows to never play Anthony Rizzo for cash golf, even if he's at his home court. Neil, what's on today's lineup card?
Oh, that's an accurate statement. Thanks, Nate. And thanks to everyone that is tuning in and listening and watching today. We appreciate you as always. We got a full lineup card today. Kicks off with a question every Cubs fan seems to have an opinion on. Who should be leading off? Is it Nico? Is it Busch, Happ, or somebody else that we're not even thinking about? Then we'll go into the Tuck rules. Why does it feel like the Cubs staffers cater to Kyle Tucker instead of the other way around? And we'll break down pitchers who get absolutely no run support. And trust me, the numbers will make you go, And after that, it's Daniel Palencia. He's either lights out or lit up. There doesn't seem to be an in-between. We'll also talk Cubs for kids. The young guys can really play, but does Craig trust them when it counts? And, of course, our topic of the week, Anthony Rizzo is coming back to the Cubs. Not as the guy at first base, but in a brand-new role. And I got to say, it just feels right. All right, man, what's up? Topic number one here is who's up first. So, speaking of leading off the show, let's talk about leading off the Cubs. Who should be the leadoff? Who is the leadoff? It's different every day. What are we doing?
Are the Cubs the only team minus an injury with multiple leadoff hitters that is a strategy?
I don't know. I don't know enough about all the other 30 teams in the league to know that for sure. But I'll be honest with you. It feels like it's been as long as Dexter Fowler since we've had a guy who's like that. You don't. Yeah. When you roll out the lineup card, just show me the rest of it because I know. I mean, we even there was even shirts made. He goes, we go. Like,
yeah,
because that was his job,
right? So whose job is it now? I mean, that's a great question. So probably similar sample sizes this year for everybody, right? Happ in the leadoff, Busch in the leadoff, and Nico in the leadoff probably are somewhere in the similar range of maybe 150, 200 at-bats each there. I don't have that in front of me. Don't quote me on it, but statistically speaking, I think it's still going to be Nico all day. And the way it feels.
Yeah, well, I mean, I get so
is also Nico because he hits righties, he hits lefties. He's not leaving the yard. We keep saying, oh, he's so clutch. Let's put him in the 5-hole, but that doesn't feel right to me. At times, just because I want some pop there. I don't know. I just feel like that feels right now for this Cubs team. It might not feel like that next year or 2 years from now, but this Cubs team, to me, Neil, that just feels right.
Well, yeah. I mean, so that's all. I mean, I agree. First off, let me just state, like, I'm voting all for Nico in that situation. But there's another debate there. Is what do you want out of your leadoff? Like, should your leadoff be about on-base percentage? Should it be about speed and pressure on the base paths? Or should it just be about contact? Like we're going to start the game off with, and I'll be honest with you, the three guys that we have to choose from all offer a little bit of that, right? Like Michael Busch is going to put the ball in play. Like, so is Nico. Nico's going to get on base a little bit more than Michael Busch does. But you and I have talked about before that Michael Busch is the ambush guy. And then the benefit of Ian Happ is it doesn't matter whether you're throwing righty, lefty, we're going to start with a favorable matchup. So it's a tricky question with this roster because those three guys could fit that role. However, nobody, in my opinion, nobody fits it better than Nico.
Yeah. Would you look at or entertain a theory that was thrown around earlier that Kyle Tucker prefers a certain guy hitting in front of him?
Well, that's funny. I mean, you're leading into the next topic. It seems that you are. I mean, we might as well jump there. I mean, I had a question for you that if October started tomorrow, who's your leadoff? But I feel like you've already answered that. So speaking of roles that matter, let's talk about Tucker. Let's talk about Tuck rules and why the Kyle Tucker seems to do more of the dictating than the staff dictates what's happening.
Pretty much everything from the lineup in the 2 spot, and rumors that he doesn't like getting bumped back in the 3 when there's a lefty on the mound to, and then there was rumors that he didn't like it when PCA was hitting leadoff because it was too erratic, and he really likes Ian because Ian gives him a good view of the plate. And so it seems like from the jump, it's been, hey, this lineup's built around Kyle Tucker. And when he disappeared, it seemed like the rest of the offense disappeared. So sometimes it leans that way. You don't want to say it, but sometimes it shows it. My biggest issue is the front office and the management side and the training staff side from player health. We're not listening to doctors and health professionals for players' availability and opportunity to help this club win a ball game today. That's it. That's the responsibility of the training staff. Is this guy is hurt more than he can help? And that's where it starts, and then it moves up the ladder, I think, this way. And that's what's been the most frustrating is the lack of communication, it seems, about his actual health status.
It's not about, I mean, listen, I could write a book on this. Like this stuff pisses me off next level. Like there is no, the way that they handled this Kyle Tucker injury, and it's not about the communication for me. It is 100% about the tail wagging the dog. Like I don't care if it's a contract year. I don't care about Kyle Tucker's future. I'm sorry. I don't. Like, do I care about Tucker's future if he signs with the Cubs? Sure. But he hasn't. I get Kyle Tucker for 1 year, so I get to care about Kyle Tucker for 1 year. So I don't care that he wants to play through it because it's a contract year. I don't care what you want. You're freaking hurt, so you're not going to play. Like, that should be the end of the story. I don't know why we've let this drag on as long as we have. And then, it comes out later that he's got a broken bone in his hand and he's been fighting through it and blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, then he should have been setting for a month.
Yep.
But he's in a contract year and he really wants to show his durability, and what he's shown you is that he can disappear from a roster and take up a spot without actually disappearing from the roster.
He's still sitting there having a good time. The question here is, when that tail started wagging the dog with the first injury, it basically just laid this out to where we're at with this calf injury. They didn't hold firm and say, man, it's a fracture. Like, it's something is broken. Like, why don't you just sit down for a minute? Right? Let's just try it. 10 days. If you feel better, come back. Like, we'll make it work. They just catered to what he wanted every day. And it held the Cubs hostage. And 100%. We're going to be held hostage not only just now in his current health status, but we're going to be held hostage. And I don't even want to talk about this, but in November, December, when we're waiting on an answer from Kyle Tucker and he is off, boating in the Catalina Islands, not given a care about a contract because he's already done for this year, and it'll all come to him. That's what's happening. We're just going to sit here and just cater to Kyle Tucker because that's what he wants. I did see a good joke, and I wish I would have retweeted it, but somebody said this is how the Cubs should have handled it, and Jed should have gone to Kyle and said, hey, Kyle, what's the abbreviation for the state of Illinois?
Yeah.
IL.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, you know what? That is a good plan. Let's try it.
Yeah.
Get him to say it.
No, and I do feel like this is this is their play at getting Kyle to come back to Chicago too. Is like look at us, we'll do whatever you want. If you don't want to go to the IL, we won't make you. If you don't want to do this, we won't make you. If you want to you want this guy hitting in front of you, that's what we'll do. And I think again we're just letting the tail wag the dog. And part of me wonders if he didn't have the start that he did, would we care as much?
Ooh. If he was just a 275 hitter pretty much the whole time, and he was just kind of a home run a week kind of guy, nothing special, just sitting in the 6 hole, just a guy.
Yeah. Would we care? And not that we would care, but would we let him call the shots? I don't think so.
Did his numbers say that he should be calling the shots?
I think his first month and a half, when everyone's immediately, hell, even from everything we've heard, I wasn't in the room obviously, but from everything we've heard, they offered him.
Yeah.
He got hot the first month and a half, and the Cubs put an offer in front of him. They said, let's get a deal done. And
it was respectable.
Yeah. So I think part of what's going on is because of the hot start. But now that he's cooled off, you guys know where I said on this issue, bon voyage. But while Tucker's calling the shots, let's talk about pitchers that don't get any help. I'm gonna let you set this one up.
Yeah, this is a little inside pull the curtain back thing. A text goes from me to Neil. So Nate says, I am so sick and tired of the Cubs not scoring any runs for Matthew Boyd after his last 1-run gem taking the L. And you immediately fired back, that's not even close compared to what Cade Horton is dealing with. So then that led us down the rabbit hole, and back and forth we went. There's no way. We both laid out our side of why we felt that way. And then we were like, you know what? Google probably has the answer. So Nate jumped on the webs, and the interwebs told me a little shocker. Okay. Technically I was right. Boyd did have a little bit less run support at about 4.6 runs a game to Cade's 4.8. The biggest shocker was two-sided. Number one, Ben Brown gets almost 6.5 runs a game and still can't figure out how to win 10 games for us as a starter. And the biggest shocker of it all, Neil, 3.81, and now falling from his last start this week, Shota only receives 3.81 and now less. I haven't looked it up yet this week. 3.8 runs a ball game, and he's still doing all that. How do you feel about the Cubs offense giving our pitchers some support?
Yeah, so obviously with Cade, and Cade got a lot of support last night, obviously. Number now, if you Google that,
it was late.
Okay, yeah, but I'm sure the number, I think those numbers are right, but I think those numbers are runs scored on days of their starts, not while they're in the game.
Right. I'm just saying when he left the game, though, he didn't feel easy about that. He had to, he had a runner on in the 6th, and
I think they were up like 3-2. Yeah.
Craig had to come running out when he put a guy on in the 6th, and he was like, "This isn't going to happen," So,
yeah. So, but I still think, to me it was a more glaring issue where it wasn't just I think the problem is that Boyd and Cade are so freaking dominant. And they are, when they come out, it's all business. It's lights out. And it's like, how are we getting beat when Matthew Boyd is only giving up 2 runs? How are we getting beat when Cade Horton has a no-hitter going into the 5th and gets taken out of the game? Like what is happening? And we're not scoring runs. And these are glaring things that are staring at us. So that led us down this rabbit hole. Like, why can we not score runs when these 2 guys are pitching? And then it turns out it's not just them. Like, it's worse when Shota's pitching, which is, I would have never in a million years would have thought that. Never in a million years would have thought that Shota wasn't the one getting the support. But I will say, look, 4.86 and 4.88 or whatever it is, got to be winning those games, man. Like, that to me speaks to the back half of the pen, because Like, I'm still of the belief that 4 to 5 runs in a Major League Baseball game should win you the game. Like, I think 6 is the magic number, right? You score 6 runs. I think it's, I think the old stat was if you score 6 runs in a Major League Baseball game, you win 90% of your games. And if you score 5, you win like 80% of your games, and then it starts to fall off.
Right.
But, I think 4.8 is almost 5, and statistics say we should be winning those games that we're not winning.
Yeah.
But that goes back to us not being able to score runs. Like
And that's offensive offense, right? Your ace is on the mound. You're going to get a ball game. They're probably going to be going up against the other guy's dude. And or the other way around. We talked about this way earlier in the season when it seems like everybody's 4 and 5 starters become Cy Young whenever they get to Wrigley because they want to show out. So everybody's putting out for the Cubs this year, and we're just not beating them. And that's when you got your guys on the mound and you're just watching them pitch and not moving a runner over, not doing just one more thing today. That's the hardest thing to watch. When your guys out there grinding and you're not even going to do the one little thing that's needed offensively to just maybe get a spark. And that's what makes that offense so offensive and why they just flat out don't compliment our great pitching staff right now. Those 3 guys, I trust to get 15 outs in the playoffs right now. All 3.
Yeah, it's those 3 guys are to me, they're it's been a while since we talked about the dog pound, but those 3 guys are locks in my opinion. Yep. But it's to me it's our struggles all stem from the offense, and I think last night was a great night offensively for the Cubs late, but early on. I thought, here we go again. This is going to be one of those nights. I can tell you, during a commercial break, I got up to go to the restroom, went to the restroom, came out and thought, well, now I'm going to stop by the fridge. I'm going to make myself a drink. Made myself a drink, got, a little bag of chips, go sit down, and they're batting again.
You missed the whole half?
Like, I missed the whole half. It was like it was like a 7-pitch inning. Like I had to go back to the game cast to find out, like, what in the heck? Like, did my TV screw up? Was I that far behind? And all of a sudden it just, sometimes with Fubo, it does that. Sometimes it's behind and then it'll just catch up on you. And and I thought, well, no, it was like a 7-pitch inning. Like, they 1, 2, 3. It's like, okay, well, this is going to be one of those nights, but then we ended up pouring it on. So I will say about the offense, man, we talked again maybe 2 weeks ago about Happ starting to square up the ball. Mm-hmm. I mean, his first at bat, the double off the wall. And then PCA had 2 big RBIs. And I just feel like we're right there, man. Like,
sure. Tucker was doing Tucker things before the calf, right? So I feel like he was back grooved behind the ball. Ian is back behind the ball. PCA is back behind the ball. We're just waiting on Seiya right now. Honestly, everybody else is as needed, if you will. We're getting expectations from those guys. They're meeting their expectations. If Seiya can flip this thing on here in the next couple weeks, and you saw him kind of fishing for things. I don't know if you saw that tweet where he was just taking shadow box swings at Wrigley at home plate.
Yeah, alone. Yeah,
and so he's searching. And we're going to survive, and we're 99% right now for playoffs. I mean, our magic numbers, attainable here, realistically from a clinching standpoint. So it's easy to say that. So let's just take the next 3 weeks, say, and just figure out how to get him hot. Let's get that barrel back behind the ball, because if we can figure out how to line up, if Craig can get this lineup in a good setting, I really do wish he would set on Nico and then just put Busch back down in the middle of that lineup somewhere, 6, 5, 4, play with him in PCA, flip him around with Kelly in the middle of them, things like that. I'm okay with playing with the lineup that way. Like you said, we haven't had a lineup guy since Fowler, and I feel like it just needs to be set and go, because if you're just going to start your lineup at Tucker and you're just going to be variable at the top, that's just it just doesn't scream let's go fight win. We're trying to play gimmick games already.
Okay, well, so speaking of streaky results and streaky numbers, let's talk about Daniel Palencia. He might be the definition of streaks. There for a while, he was absolutely lights out. And then we started to see some hiccups. This is sad. This is a sad reality because my mind immediately jumps to, after watching that pitch and watching him hang that arm there,
Yeah.
it makes me think that the last 3 weeks inconsistencies, there's been a nagging shoulder that we're playing through.
That was my first note here is Daniel Palencia healthy, right? He's on the shelf right now, but how much health a consideration leading up to that? And the only question and the things that you can go back to and look at are statistics. He throws the ball 100. Did his velocity dip? No. Now, some of the location issues came back, and I think that's what got him into trouble the last few weeks. But the other side of it is, a lot of his balls that he gets hit hard on, they're in the zone. And we barked at Danny to get better at throwing in the zone, and now he's in the zone. And, and that's, maybe that led to it. And now he's trying to throw it harder through the zone. I don't know. It didn't look good. That looked painful. It looked like it exploded.
Yeah, and I'm not saying. Listen, let me back that up. What I said, like, I'm not saying that this has gone on longer. I'm saying the sad part is that it, because of the history of the Cubs medical staff, their history of being honest and upfront. That's where my mind went as soon as it happened.
Okay,
as soon as it happened, I thought he's been dealing with this for weeks. And they've been. So I'm not saying that's where, but I'm saying it. The sad reality is because of Cubs medical track record here, that I immediately jump to, this has been going on. Like this is us not being proactive, and not stepping in and setting a guy when he needs a break, and now we've torn him up. So
he played a lot of back-to-backs.
Oh, he did. Yeah. I mean,
we only score 4 runs a night or less. The back end of our bullpen is going to be in shreds by September. And unfortunately, our offense has done this, and they owe us about 3 weeks of really offensive baseball so that we can get these guys healthy. We need to see a couple more things happen here. I mean, we need Danny P to get healthy. I hope this was just some mental stuff that he just needed to work through. I hope that it's just some inflammation, and then, he can get back to it. And he just needs to get back to good strategy and executing some good pitches again, because he does have a lot of gas, and he's got a lot of stuff, and he's developing, the little slider and the change piece. So he's working hard at what he does, and nobody wants to see Danny P succeed more than I do.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Would you? So the last 2 weeks, Daniel Palencia has been used in non-save situations.
Yeah.
When we're tied or down 1 in the 9th, would you have used him in those situations?
There's a couple of thoughts there. The only question that I have is when did he start warming up? Right? There's a point where Danny Palencia is not double barreling with anybody else in the pen. If Danny is up, he's the only guy throwing. So
yeah, no, so that's not my. I get where.
I think if he gets up, that bullet's going to get shot. And so, no, would I have? No, I wouldn't have even called Danny up for that yet. And he already threw the day before. So there's instances in the last couple of weeks that you're pointing out where we were even, and he was used. Yes, but I think that they shot that bullet because he got up, not because anything else.
Yeah, but for me, and you and I both know, look, there's a difference between getting up in the pen and then going out.
Though.
Yeah, but here's my thing, right? Is he gets up, like, I don't know. I get the situation where he hasn't thrown in 4 days, and it's like, we're going to get him up and we're going to throw him because he hasn't thrown in 4 days. But when he's thrown 2 back-to-back and now we're going to put him in a tie game, I'm not interested.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, if he is your closer, there should be some treatment there that says, hey, we're going to get him as many saves as possible. If it's not a save situation, do we not have another guy for 3 outs here to get to where that's at? Your closer shouldn't be 1 and 5.
Right.
But only have like 3 blown saves. You can't lose 5 games without blowing them yourself. That's the problem. And I think Craig has put him in some no-win situations where, you're here to get the win, but you're going to probably get the loss. Here it comes.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of young guys, let's end on a fan favorite coming home I'm sorry, that's the wrong segue.
Yeah.
To the kids who might actually stabilize this roster, let's talk about these young guys. The next topic is Cubs for kids. These kids have shown flashes, energy, athleticism, clutch moments. Why are we bringing these guys up, not playing them? Like, what are we doing?
I'll save that one for later. Let's talk about the contributions that are going on right now. Look at the Tuesday game between Matt Shaw and Cade Horton and PCA doing PCA things. And yes, he's still a young guy. I understand that he's, we've elevated him to veteran status already because he's made the all-star team and things like that. He's still a kid. And so these guys are dominating right now and they're leading the way. There's some consistency going on. Dansby is very consistent right now from a veteran standpoint. Carson Kelly is very streaky, but the nights he does contribute, he contributes a ton. But these kids are just flashing. I just don't know if Craig believes it yet. Like, what does it take for Craig to fully trust Matt Shaw in a 2-out situation in the 7th inning? Do you think he does that in 3 weeks in the playoffs? Do you think Matt Shaw gets that at bat that he got on Tuesday night in the playoffs? 7th inning, 8th inning, what was it? Yeah.
Oh God, I hope so, because I hope we don't go changing the way we manage the ball game now. Like,
I mean, that was probably that's my number one question right here. Would Matt Shaw have gotten that at bat on October 10th?
Yeah, like, I mean, if the binder says so.
That's unbelievable.
Unless, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Unless now all of a sudden we're going to start managing by our gut because it's the playoffs and these games mean more, which to me is unbelievable. Like, I don't know. Here, my problem with this is I don't feel like we're helping these kids grow. I feel like we're holding them back.
It's when you call a kid up like Owen Casey and he produces in the opportunities that you gave him, and then he gets absolutely shelved with zero game plan for his development. That's shocking. Like, you didn't know that Kyle Tucker was going to come back soon, and then you might want to keep Casey. Like, you had no backup plan for what if he actually does hit a home run and like 6 doubles.
Yeah, and then 3 weeks later. Yeah, and 3 weeks later, Kyle Tucker goes back on the IL, and we call up Moises Ballesteros. Like, what message are we sending to these kids?
I don't know. I don't know what games they're playing. And again, we're not privy to it. It could be something where, maybe Casey left with a little bit of a little knock that we didn't know about. Or what they're talking about with their agents. I mean, there's 1,000 conversations that we are not privy to. But from a grand scheme of baseball things, the development is a problem.
And the optics look like garbage.
Absolutely. The optics look awful, and the development plan looks wayward. I guess is the best way to put it. Undefined, unclear. Just go to Iowa and get swings. I don't know. There's a lot of talent, and a lot of it's leading our lineup right now, and they're playing great defense. And that's one thing that they do, and I'll give Jed some credit. He is bringing in some dudes that do one thing first, and that's play defense. The rest of it, they're all good at they can swing it, they can play, but there's no defensive sloughs here. And that's a huge plus for these kids to kind of buoy themselves through the highs and lows of being learning how to hit major league pitching, is to just play good defense and not let that really mess with, the hitting mess with the defensive side, because we got to save some runs somehow.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of the kids, let's end on a fan favorite. Anthony Rizzo is returning to the Cubs in a different role. Obviously, he's going to retire as a Cub. He's going to announce his retirement on Saturday at Wrigley Field. I am still trying to weasel my way into that game. We'll see. My question for you in regards to this, do you think this has real value, Or is this symbolic value? Is this Cubs reconnecting with their championship core? Is it on-field impact? Or is it just culture and nostalgia?
Can we go D, some of all?
Okay.
I think connecting with the 2016 team has been really difficult because a lot of those guys are still swinging it. Well, you know, a lot of them have moved on, but I mean, the core of those guys between Javi and Rizz and even Chris Bryant up until this season are still playing major roles with other clubs. So it's really hard to connect with your core when they're somebody else's property currently. So I think we're going to see a lot of that coming up here as these guys slowly retire. That Rizzo's the leading guy here, and you'll probably see some Chris Bryant when he does, and then Javi. Everybody's going to get their time, and it's great because the last thing you want to see is the any distance between the organization and their stars, like what happened with Sammy. And you don't want that. You know, I know there was some circumstances around it, but you just don't want to lose those guys that connected with the fan base so well and gave so much to the organization, regardless of what the landscape of you know, the backdrop is and then backstories. It's still, people still love them. So do you believe that he leads the line as far as that group, as far as Cubs Hall of Famers go? Are there multiple guys from that 26 group?
No, and I'm going to disagree with you. I don't think you're going to see Chris Bryant and Baez and those guys rolling back through.
Really?
No, I think you're going to see. I think the difference between Rizzo is he was there when they sucked. Like, I watched the video montage that the Cubs put together and put out today. It's like seeing him walk in the clubhouse for the first time and seeing how god awful that clubhouse was, and seeing him walk through those freaking cinder block hallways to get to the stadium.
Yeah.
And now the path that they take that's all lit and awesome and carpeted, and they got this clubhouse that's massive now. Like, I none of those other guys were there during that time, and I think that's what makes Rizzo so special, is that he didn't, Baez and Bryant got the luxury of inheriting what Rizzo brought to the team, and they came at a later time when it was already on the upswing, right? And like Rizzo just as much as we bet on him, after his, he beat cancer and he comes back, and the Cubs bet on this kid and see a little success, and then he bets on the Cubs. Like, I think that's the difference is he took a bet on us just as much as we took a bet on him. And I think that's why, it wouldn't surprise me if he is I'm not going to say a Hall of Famer, but a Cubs Hall of Famer for sure. I don't know what this ambassador role is. I don't know if that's like a Ryan Sandberg type deal where you're going to show up at spring training and kick it around for a little bit and just kind of be in the park once or twice a year, or if it's going to be an actual more hands-on type role. I would love to see a more of a hands-on type role, but I don't know how much he wants to move his family back to Chicago. So
Sure,
it may just be a weekend getaway type deal where you're going to come in every now and then. You're going to, show your face, and I'm fine with either way. I don't care whichever one it is. I would obviously, if I had my cake and eat it too, I'd like him to be more involved, but it is what it is.
It'd be interesting to see how much impact he has on the big club as far as that is concerned, whether it's just, shaking hands in the third row and, oh, there he is. Hey, sing some seventh inning stretches, but also do the spring training thing. Or are they going to ship him around to all the spots? This is what it's like to be a single A manager. Go watch him for a week, do the things that you went through the organization, but did you really see the other half of the organization? So here, let's go back to single A and go see the other half of the organization, how it works. And then you pick where you want to go. I could see them doing that, where he's like, hey guys, I want to do something. I need these hands, I got a kid, but like, I got to do something. So I think he's not an idle hands guy. I can tell that, he's definitely a busy guy with everything that he's got going on. So I think stepping away was really tough, even with the kiddo and, all that, reconnecting with your family, if you will, after the playing days are over, being around full time. So, but I could see that where he just kind of tries a few things out and says, hey, this feels nice. Let's try that.
Yeah, absolutely. No matter how you slice it, it just feels right. I woke up, saw it today. I saw these tweets and everything of Rizzo wearing a Cubs uniform, and it just felt right. So all was right in Cubs world today. So that's it for us. Be sure to like, subscribe, follow. Thanks for tuning in as always. But that is our show today. We're on all social media platforms at Club 120 Show, online at www.club120show.com. That's it for us. Go Cubs, go.
Go Cubs, go.
This has been Club 120. Neil and Nate have practically spent their entire lives doing something centered around baseball. And with these guys, you're going to get quick-hitting, time-answer segments packed with wit, laughs, and, yes, heated debates. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon. But in the meantime, you can find us on all social media platforms at Club 120 Show. And, of course, the website at www.club120show.com. Until next time, go Cubs, go!